Good morning, and thank you for getting up early to join us on this crisp winter morning. It's a little chilly in here. I would like to acknowledge that the Wesleyville site we gather on today is situated in the treaty and traditional territory of the Mississauga and Chippewa Nations, collectively known as the Williams Treaty First Nations. These lands are within the territory of the Gunshot Treaty of 1787 to 88 and the Williams Treaty of 1923. And these rights were reaffirmed in 2018 in a settlement with Canada and the province of Ontario. OPG respectfully acknowledges the Williams Treaty First Nation are the stewards and caretakers of these lands and the waters that touch them. And they continue to maintain this responsibility to ensure their health and integrity for generations to come. As a company, OPG remains committed to developing positive and mutually beneficial relationships with Williams Treaty First Nations. Thank you to Mayor Henkinski, Minister Piccini, and Minister Lecce. Before I turn over the podium, I want to acknowledge Minister Lecce's commitment to addressing the growing demand for power in Ontario and the significant steps you've undertaken over the past few months. Thank you, Minister. As you can see around us, the remnants of an incomplete Wesleyville generation station serve as a reminder of a very different past. A past where engagement, collaboration, and partnership were not prioritized like they are today. But today we start another journey, one of engagement, collaboration, and partnership. A journey that we hope will benefit the Williams Treaty First Nations and the people of Port Hope for decades to come. With that, I will turn it over to Minister Lecce. Welcome, Minister.
Thank you, Nicole. Appreciate that. All right. Well, thank you so much, Nicole. Good morning, Port Hope. I feel like half the town is in this room this morning. This is amazing. Thank you so much for being with us. It is a privilege to be here in Port Hope, be back in Port Hope with my amazing friend and colleague, David Piccini. This is an important step we're taking to secure Ontario's energy future alongside the hardest working MPP at Queen's Park, here from Northumberland, Peterborough South, David Piccini, Ontario's Minister of Labour, Training and Skills Development, along with our MPP for Durham, Todd McCarthy. Thank you, sir. And of course, the Mayor, Mayor Henkinski, who's with us, who's been an incredible partner and advocate for Port Hope. Thank you, Mayor, for your leadership and advocacy, and to all the Labour and union partners and businesses with us. This is the dream team as we build our province, and all of you understand the need for more clean, affordable, and reliable power. Because under the leadership of the Premier, our province is growing, driven by thriving communities and ambitious investments to get more homes and transit built. At the same time, our economy is undergoing a profound transformation. We're electrifying whole industries, and that comes with a surging demand for electricity. In fact, Ontario will need 75% more power by 2050 to meet that demand. And that's exactly why last November, I asked Ontario Power Generation to begin discussions with Indigenous and municipal leaders on the sites that they own in Port Hope, Haldimand County, and St. Clair Township to gauge support for net new energy generation. And here in Port Hope, the Wesleyville site has long stood as a testimony to Ontario's energy ambition, but also to its challenges. Originally envisioned by Ontario Hydro in the late 1970s as an oil-fired power generation station, construction was halted in the 1979 due to the oil crisis of the time, the economic pressures of the time. But since then, Wesleyville's powerhouse and its smokestack have stood here, silent witness to a past where engagement and collaboration and partnership were not valued as they are today. And today, that silence ends. Because under the leadership of Premier Ford, we're turning the page and we are moving forward. And we're reimagining Wesleyville as a cornerstone of Ontario's clean energy strategy, working in partnership with Indigenous communities and municipal leaders to breathe new life into this site. And since my announcement last year, both the municipality of Port Hope and the Williams Treaty's First Nations have expressed interest in exploring opportunities of new nuclear generation on this site. And it's why today I am pleased to announce that I've directed Ontario Power Generation to explore and advance new nuclear energy generation here in Port Hope to help meet soaring demand for energy. A site that is already zoned for electricity generation. It's already close to transmission. It's close to the growth that's taking hold in this region. And according to OPG, there is potential of up to 10,000 megawatts of new nuclear generation right here in Port Hope. That is enough power for 10 million homes. And this would make it one of the largest nuclear generating stations in the world once completed, more than 2 times larger than that of the current Darlington station. And that could go a long way to meet our growing demand with the affordable energy families and businesses are looking for today and over the future. But the benefits wouldn't just stop there. Any potential project would power our economy as the Conference Board of Canada projects a new nuclear station in Port Hope would contribute $235 billion to Ontario's GDP over its lifespan. It would support 10,500 net new jobs across the province. Simply put, it's a generational opportunity for this province, for this community, and our entire country. And let us be clear that this opportunity is grounded in a partnership with Indigenous leaders and with community leaders like our mayor. And that's why, as we begin significant and formal engagement in negotiations, we are ensuring communities are supported. And it's why I've instructed Ontario Power Generation to provide capacity support for the Williams Treaty First Nations, in addition to an opportunity for them to join equity participation in any generation project we conceive. It's also why we're announcing an immediate funding of $1 million to support early planning for Port Hope. This was an ask of the Mayor and your MPP, which we were proud to deliver. It's also why it's part of this milestone-based process, where we're also announcing today that Port Hope is eligible for up to $30 million of funding to support infrastructure upgrades in this community. Because we want local communities to see the benefit of this project now and over the 95-year lifespan of this project. So let me just end by saying thank you to everyone who's been a part of this conversation so far, from the community leaders to our Indigenous partners to the residents of Port Hope and your incredibly hardworking MPP and David Piccini. Together, we are writing the next chapter of Ontario's energy future, and it's one defined by collaboration, and it's a commitment to affordability. And I just can't wait to continue working with you to get this done. Now, I want to turn it over to your MPP, who's been an incredible advocate for this project, for investments in this riding, and someone who's been a wonderful partner to build the energy, the human capital, and the infrastructure our province will need for the next 25 years. Your hardworking MPP, David Piccini. Thank you so much.
Good morning, everyone. Thank you all for being here this morning. It's great to be here in Wesleyville and the municipality of Port Hope, my home, alongside my colleagues, Minister Stephen Lecce. Stephen, thank you for your leadership, for ensuring we have the energy security, affordable, reliable energy we need, not just for today, but for tomorrow's generation. To my colleague, MPP McCarthy, who's been such a strong partner to work with in Clarington, who have 2 MPPs in the municipality of Clarington, I appreciate their collaboration and leadership. I also am joined here by so many colleagues, but I want to acknowledge our municipal colleagues from around our county, and in particular, here in the municipality of Port Hope, Mayor and Council who are here today. Thank you for being here and your ongoing partnership. I'd like to thank Mayor Hankivsky for her strong leadership, determination, and for how thoughtful and deliberate she has been in putting the interests of this community squarely at the forefront of discussions. In fact, she was doing it right before we got up here. So thank you for your tenacity, Mayor. I'd also like to thank representatives from building, construction, manufacturing, our business community who are here today. A special shout out to the people here who represent Ontario's workers. Our labour partners, building trades partners who will benefit greatly from what we are embarking upon today. You know, this building when I was growing up here in Port Hope, when I would drive by on the days back and forth to Queen's Park, it's like Willy Wonka's chocolate factory. Nobody knew what was going on, but today we're all in here to see, and as Minister Lecce said, it speaks to a past, a difficult past, but an exciting future, a future we are all a part of. In an uncertain world, we need energy security. In a changing world, in a changing planet, we need clean energy. In communities we live in, we need reliable and affordable energy. With Ontario's independent electricity system operator, as you heard from Minister Lecce, forecasting, and I just want to reiterate it, forecasting the demand for electricity will increase by 75% by 2050. This is the equivalent of adding 4.5 cities the size of Toronto to our electrical grid. So it's more important now than ever before that we invest in clean power, in nuclear power, to ensure that Ontario can meet the energy needs of future generations. And that's why we're here today. For too long, governments have failed to look beyond their time in office, more focused on today than tomorrow. That's changed under Premier Ford's leadership. We have a plan to build the infrastructure that our children and children's children will use to power the energy, to ensure we have reliable energy for them, for that future generation, to build the homes, the hospitals, the schools, the manufacturing, the vehicles we need. All of this relies on dependable baseload power. And today's announcement about starting the journey with First Nations partner, Municipality of Port Hope, this community, stakeholders to leverage this site for nuclear power generation signals our shared desire to ensure clean, reliable, and affordable energy to power Ontario's future. It's a game changer for our community. In fact, this Wesleyville site would bring billions of dollars to the Ontario economy, as you heard. But I want to zero in on the 1,700 good-paying local jobs right here in the municipality of Port Hope. And, you know, folks, this represents an average 15 to 20%, just think about that, 15 to 20% boost to local employment in this area. We're not a community if you don't get up, have a job, it gives you purpose, dignity, and this is a remarkable community to live in. And this is a recession-proof, reliable employer that will be incredibly beneficial for our region. But what does that all mean? I mean, I really want to zero in on the people. And I saw them on my way in, and it's so indicative of so many stories, but Lisa and Josh who's here, who's worked on this project. I met them at Algoma Orchards the other day on the way in. My wife hates when I go into grocery store because we start talking politics and issues. But they're a family, a nuclear family, a family that's been in the industry. Josh has been instrumental in this work here today. Why do I want to mention that? Because I met their two boys, and I think what we are talking about here today is laying the shade in which some of us won't sit. This is generational for their two boys, for children, for young women who are seeking to enter the trades, for young boys and girls who want to enter an apprenticeship. Our apprenticeship numbers are up in the province of Ontario. We're building things again. But none of our collective and shared ambitions are possible, our manufacturing ambitions, our small business ambitions, without reliable baseload power. This represents a major milestone in ensuring our long-term prosperity and positions Ontario as an energy superpower. Thank you all for coming here today, for your partnership, for working with us, for challenging us, and for our collective shared goal of building a stronger Ontario. Together, we will continue to ensure Ontario is the best place to live, work, and raise a family. And I'm biased, but that's happening right here in Port Hope, and I couldn't be more thrilled. So with that, I'd like to turn it over to my friend, to my partner and colleague, Mayor Hankivski. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I hope you're not all frozen yet. I promise my comments will be brief. It is my distinct pleasure to join you today as we gather to officially announce and discuss such an exciting opportunity for the municipality of Port Hope. What a good day today is. With the $1 million of initial support announced by the province of Ontario, the municipality of Port Hope will start the process of assessing the feasibility of clean energy projects at Wesleyville to meet all of our growing energy needs. Thank you, Minister Lecce, for entrusting the leadership of Port Hope with this important opportunity and responsibility. The Port Hope Council, who are with me today, unanimously support moving forward with further discussions with Ontario Power Generation and to undertake robust community engagement to support this process. These steps will allow us to learn, to dialogue, to assess, and imagine for our time now and for generations to come the possibilities of a greener future, unprecedented economic development, job creation and tax revenues, as well as infrastructure improvements required for a thriving and sustainable community. On behalf of the Municipality of Port Hope, I thank the Province of Ontario and Ontario Power Generation. I also thank all of you in attendance today from right across Northumberland County for being here to mark the beginning of this exciting opportunity. I very much look forward to the first steps of inclusive, collaborative dialogue as we explore together how to build a lasting legacy for Port Hope and for the Province of Ontario. And with that, I would like to invite Minister Lecce back to the podium.
Okay. All right.
Now open up the floor to questions from the media. Please come up to the mic and state your name and outlet. Please be reminded it's one question, one follow-up. We'll start with our first reporter.
Rahim Ladani, CTV News Toronto. Minister Lecce, for you. You talked a lot about the jobs that this is going to create, the GDP over the lifespan. Are there any pegs in terms of early estimates for how much this project is going to cost?
So the Conference Board of Canada has forecasted that this type of up to 10,000 megawatts of non-emitting clean nuclear power could add $235 billion to our GDP over the next 95 years. That is a massive investment, not just in the community of Port Hope, but in the entire province as we secure energy that we'll need. And we need 75% more power. We need 16,000 megawatts of power akin to 16 million homes. This helps us bridge that gap in a massive way. And it's the early days, but it's a positive momentum we're building towards securing that energy future that is affordable. And as with every energy project we anticipate building, we'll be transparent with releasing those details over time. The final estimate will be based on the size and scope. And so today it's up to 10,000 megawatts, but this is based on a consultation, a meaningful one, with the mayor, with the council, with the First Nation leadership, and of course with OPG. And so as those get finalized, we'll provide them as we have with Darlington, with Pickering, with Bruce. By the way, all those refurbishments were done all on time and on budget, and that would be our expectation here too.
There's been a lot of talk today about turning the corner and collaboration and engagement. What's changed? Because when this project was on the table in 2022, the provincial government was the same, MPP Piccini was the same. At the time, the then mayor felt that this deal was taken from the municipality of Port Hope and they were blindsided. What's changed specifically that it won't happen this time again and there actually will be true collaboration?
Sure. I'll turn it over to Minister Piccini as well, but I think what I'd simply say is we have a demand forecast of 75% more power in the province. 4.5 cities of Toronto we have to add to the grid. There's power demand is soaring in industrialized economies, and we are, for the first time in a long time, our Premier is leading by thinking about tomorrow and building for the next 25 years. We announced an integrated energy plan that now actually puts a priority and a premium on affordable, reliable power for the next generation so that, as we mentioned, so that our kids and grandkids have access to reliable, clean power. This expansion of non-emitting nuclear energy will reduce emissions and massively grow our economy, and that's a big advantage. Part of the discussions with OPG and the First Nation leadership and the mayor is rooted in a belief of collaboration to get this project done. And I'll turn it over to MPP Piccini to talk more about that.
Thanks, Rahim. I don't think we're comparing apples and apples here. What has changed is this was a a deal that was predicated on the municipality purchasing this property with the plans were not for power generation, and that's what's fundamentally changed here. I will also say it was predicated on seeking a loan from Ontario to purchase this property, and at economic times that we're in today, and rightly, back then, looking at supply chains, looking at an increasingly uncertain world, I think the province made a very prudent decision to say we cannot dispose of our energy sites zoned for power production and have to keep it within our Rolodex. Since then, we've continued to work with the municipality of Port Hope closely, and today we're in a position where they're not taking on a significant loan, but are in a position where they're getting an immediate injection of $1 million and are in a position to work collaboratively with us to manage the future, to seek out opportunities from ideas from community members on where we're going to grow together. So I think that's what's changed, and I just wanted to add that important point.
Okay.
Hi, Anthony Kapkin, Electrical Business Magazine. I believe it was Minister Piccini who mentioned that, well, actually all of you had mentioned, there's a generational opportunity. Now, provided things go forward as you would like to see them go forward, could subsequent governments basically kibosh the deal if they're not nuclear friendly and say, no, we want to change things, we don't want to do this anymore? Or what we're laying the foundation for here today, could it come to fruition?
Well, look, every government will make a decision based on the economic needs of the time, and our government is committed to this project. We want to move it forward in good faith consultations with the local community, with the council and mayor, and the First Nation leadership. And so our government is committed to building nuclear, and I think there are political parties who are against it, and we should be under no illusions. When the Liberal Party had a chance to expand nuclear power, their option was, frankly, to close the Pickering nuclear plants just down the road. The Green Party has systematically, and the New Democrats have systematically opposed nuclear power as a viable, clean, baseload solution to the economic forecast we have. So only the Premier, I think, has the leadership and, frankly, the foresight to recognize if we want clean power for our own needs, let alone for exports, then we need more nuclear power in the province. And we have amazing technology, Canadian tech, we have the best workforce, we have a proven record, and it is one of the most affordable energy sources that we produce, according to the Ontario Energy Board. Nuclear power is literally one of the most affordable, it's non-emitting, and it supports billions to our economy. So the other parties will have to explain why they would turn their back on 10,000 workers, and the private sector unions that endorse this expansion, and the families who will depend, the entire supply chain that will benefit from this. And so, look, when it comes to the choices before the people of Ontario, our party, our Premier, and our government is fully committed to our energy future that is reliable, that is clean and affordable. And this massive expansion of Wesleyville up to 10,000 megawatts is a big step forward to delivering the affordable energy future our families deserve. Thank you. Okay. Yeah, go ahead.
Minister Lecce, Joseph Godin with NBC Media, Classic Rock and My FM here in Northumberland. In terms of timeline, when will we actually be able to turn on the switch and expect power to be generated from this new station?
So we're looking at roughly a 10 to 15-year horizon when it comes to building nuclear power. We are not setting deadlines. We're not placing any of that on the community or on any of the partners involved. We want this to be a meaningful engagement and consultation, which we are formally launching today to build towards a memorandum of understanding as a willing host community. So we've got the time in place. Our government is proactive. We talk about thinking about tomorrow. We're not scrambling for energy for 2026 or 27. We're literally building energy that we need because we forecast potential gaps into the late 2030s and early 40s. And that's the proactive leadership the Premier is demonstrating by ensuring we have affordable energy available to our people, to our industry, to our farmers, and to our families. So we have a critical path that I think gives us the time to get to yes on this. and we're looking at a roughly 10 to 15-year time frame to build it out.
Follow-up. In terms of the type of nuclear power station that will be here, are we talking about something like Darlington or one of the smaller, more modular nuclear stations?
So decisions on, for example, technology are all going to be based on consultation. So those are decisions that probably will be made in the coming months and years, to be honest. But what I can say is this likely would not be a space for just small modular reactors. We're looking at large-scale nuclear to hit that type of those megawatts. I mean, for example, a small modular reactor will generate roughly 300 megawatts of non-emitting power. We're leading in the G7 here at Darlington, just down the street, not too far from here, where OPG is building the first SMR in the G7 that will be in service by 2030 and the rest of the fleet by the mid-2035. So we're excited about that. We're going to build more of those. But for this site, we envision something much bigger. When you want to hit 10,000, up to 10,000 megawatts, you're going to need like 2 Darlingtons to sort of put this into scale of what this could mean for the community. But again, that's the up to. It's all based on the discussion that we're formally announcing, the negotiation that really starts today.
Could we just get a little more insight in terms of what types of assessments are going to be taking place over the following years? Environmental impacts, safety impacts, the fact that here Darlington's a stone's throw away, having them so close together. What is the province and what is OPG going to be looking into?
Sure. Do you want to take that, Nicole? Yeah, please.
Thanks. Yeah, we have a lot of work ahead of us. As Minister Lecce talked about, we really do need to have conversations with the community and with the First Nation to understand what it is we want to do here. And then there's an environmental assessment process that we will have to go through. And so that will take a few years. We will have to understand the nature of what we have on the site, what we're trying to build, and the environmental impacts, and work through that. So that's a 3 to 5 year process to get through, and really that's our key piece that we've got to get through prior to construction.
The other element that I think is important is we need working with the federal government on impact assessments. These can take upwards of 5 years, and this is a very long process. And so we have asked, and we have a commitment from the current federal government to reduce that to 3 years. We haven't seen that just yet. So whatever government forms in the spring and beyond, we need a greater sense of speed and collaboration with the provinces who are responsible for energy resources to build out this future with a sense of a bias of action. We cannot allow these projects to sit idle in the bureaucracy for 5 years to study something when we know it is an effective, reliable, safe, affordable technology and affordable form of energy for the people of Ontario. But I do want to ask MPP Todd McCarthy, the member from Durham, energy's on the mind. But I want to ask Todd McCarthy to share a bit of his observations because he's been through this in Darlington and I know he'll have perspective to share.
Yes, good morning. As the member of Provincial Parliament for Durham, the neighbouring riding to Minister Pacini's, I'm so very proud of Premier Ford's leadership, Minister Lecce's leadership, and the advocacy, the joint advocacy between Minister Pacini and I for investing in clean, reliable, affordable nuclear energy. The Wesleyville announcement today is one of 3 new sites, and of course it stands alongside just to the east of both Darlington and the SMR investment that has been announced recently. And in fact, Minister Lecce's first day of the job was with me at Darlington on the SMR update. And of course, the investment in the refurbishment at Pickering. All of these in the Durham, Northumberland area along Lake Ontario are so important to powering our energy future, a clean energy future, and making sure that in the process we power homes, we provide affordable energy. That's good for families, it's good for businesses, it's great for our future, and it's great for the thousands of jobs that will arise from it and the millions of homes that will be powered by it.
That concludes our press conference. Thank you, everyone, for coming.
I did just want to say, because I never like missing a meal, we have reception at the town of Port Hope. They've graciously offered to to allow us to use Town Hall, which is a beautiful building. So please zip on out just a few minutes east of us to the town of Port Hope for a light refreshments and a little reception. Thank you all.